I want to do a real quick, get you involved here. When you think about downsizing, what comes to your mind? Turn to your neighbor and just say a quick word or two. When you hear the word downsizing, what comes to your mind? Okay, I'm going to keep that quick because I know you can go down rabbit trails on that one. I don't want to lose complete control here. So I'll be brave. What were some of the words or thoughts that people had about downsizing? What? Horror. Ooh. Okay, well, that's a good beginning for us. We appreciate you setting the context, Gretchen. I think we'll just have to go up from there. Other words or thoughts that people had. Mary? Well, we're doing really well, and we went from horror to stress. Okay, I know a lot of people are agreeing with that one, too. Catherine? Thank you. Catherine turned the tables for us and said freedom to travel. And we're going to talk about, how we look at downsizing. Nancy, I saw your hand. What? Get rid of junk. Okay, that's interesting then about what's junk and what's not. But yeah, that's important there. Renee? The anxiety that goes with the junk and the clutter. Some of us are weighed down by that, okay? Others, Maureen. What? Possible. We're going to go for the positive part there. I'm glad some of us are in the middle of this process. Okay. All of this is right. What we want to do is just to equip you. Can we solve everything today? No. And I wish I could remember who it was. Somebody, when they came in, said, yeah, I kind of know what I'm supposed to do. The problem is doing it. Now, we can only do so much, folks. But we are going to encourage you with some steps that could help you along the way there. So as we think about the puzzle, I like the puzzle as a metaphor for downsizing, because we're putting together a lot of pieces. And anytime you're doing that, it can be overwhelming and crazy and all. And when I think about that, I'm often reminded of a story I remember as a child, or an encounter, I guess it is. When I was visiting my aunt, I grew up in Oklahoma. My mother's family was from West Texas. And we were in Amarillo visiting my Aunt Claudia. And she had this jigsaw puzzle out on her table. It was in a box, but it had been made clear, but you can open it, you can do it. So what do? I dump all the pieces out and what is all of this? What do I do? And I start just randomly trying to pick up pieces and put them together. Didn't work very well. And so then Aunt Claudia comes in and goes, hey, Virginia, here, let me give you a suggestion. Let me help you with something. She said, first of all, why don't we turn all the pieces over so you can see them? Good idea. So we turn all the pieces over, much better than just trying to find little pieces that connect. Okay, so we're doing that, and then she says, here's another strategy, another tip for you. Let's pull out all the pieces with straight edges. Those are the pieces that are going to be the frame. Okay, so we start doing that. Then she says, and you know what? There are 4, more or less, really important pieces. Those are the corners. Let's look for those. And we do that, and then we start getting this frame together. Because Aunt Claudia was sharing her experience, her knowledge, her strategies of how to work with a puzzle, I was able to come alongside with her. Had she not been there, my attention to that puzzle would not have lasted very long. I would have been on and to something else. But she was my guide. And I share that story because in downsizing, we need guides. You'll find different ways, different people perhaps to be your guide. But as a downsizing coach, that's what I do with people. I learn a lot through these experiences. And those are some of the things we want to share, I want to share with you today. If we can go to the puzzle now, Ken. So it's in a handout in your packet, too. I encourage us, and we have it as number 1 on your list. It definitely is number 1. In the puzzle, we put it at the center, the choice. Why are we downsizing? Why? When we think about the reasons, what are common reasons I hear as I'm talking with people? Oh, I'm tired of keeping up the house. I don't want to have to do it. I want somebody else to come in and clean periodically. I don't want to figure out what to do for dinner tonight. Yes, I can order in or we can go out, but I don't want to do that. I hear people say, I'm really kind of lonely. Maybe I should make a change. Or I hear people say, I can't drive anymore, so I'm locked into my house, and I want something more than that. Then I hear people to say, I want more freedom. And it brings up lots of different stories. I want to be able to be with people and socialize. If I'm not driving, that can be a challenge. I remember an extended conversation with a woman. I'll call her Pat. And when I would visit with her, she would share with me, I feel so lonely since my husband passed away. I don't have anyone to have my 4 o'clock wine with. Well, have you considered moving to a community where you would be with people? Oh, no, I can't do that. I can't give up my independence. It's an interesting balance there. But if I stay in my home, I'm independent. But if I'm limited on what I can do, is that limiting my independence? So I think those are all things to think about. So as we focus on downsizing, before we get caught up in the stress and the horror and the junk, I want you to think about why. Why would you entertain the idea of downsizing? And if we use the idea of, really, what do I want my life to be like in 5 or 10 years? Do I want to be able to just walk out of my door, my house or apartment and travel and not have to make umpteen arrangements for everything? What is it that you want to be doing? And what kind of living arrangement will facilitate that? So we may be thinking, 5 or 10 years from now, I may be a little less stable on my feet. Some of us are already feeling that. I may need the assistance of a walker. I might not be driving. But I still want to be an active, engaged person. So that's what we encourage you to think about. How can you accomplish that and achieve that? So that we become proactive rather than reactive. You being in control. How many of you remember either on a retreat or in your work days or family making vision boards, goal boards? Do you remember, did any of you do that? Okay. Some of you are afraid to admit you're afraid you're going to get called on or something here, but I bet you did that. When you think, what is it I want to achieve? And you put that up there, and some of us go, that is so hokey. Others of us go, but it reminded me what I'm working towards. I remember doing one a few years ago associated with real estate coaching that I'm I participate in, and make a goal board. What are you really working towards? What is it you want? Don and I wanted to go on European river cruises. I put that as the center of my goal board and thought about what do I need to do. So as I'd get frustrated, but I would think, no, that's what I'm working towards. So I hope it's the center of our downsizing vision. We're thinking, what's this going to accomplish for me? Am I going to be able to take the trips more easily? I want to be where I can still be engaged with people and shift the focus to what we're going to be accomplishing. So that's the reason we have that making a decision, and it's being proactive rather than being reactive. So that will also keep us moving ahead. I know it's easy to get bogged down in the minutia. That became our favorite word in Downsizing Club last week when people were talking about the stuff and the junk and how do I take care of this and how do I do that. We focus on that rather than thinking, okay, but what am I doing this for? And that's what we really want to encourage you to be thinking about this. That's the reason with downsizing, we're really talking about new beginnings, number 2 on the list there. You know, that's the beauty of it. Anyways, it's a challenge too. It is, but it's going to accomplish our goals. So we want to think about new beginnings, and a lot of that involves, well, where do I want to move if I decide to move? In October, our seminar is going to be about finding a place, or I've forgotten now the exact title, but it's going to be talking about living, actually senior living communities. I'll be your guide that day too. I want people to have clear understandings. What is 55 plus? What are independent living apartments, assisted living, memory care? Again, I know you're not looking to move to assisted living tomorrow, but things might happen, and we need to be aware. So that's what we're going to be focusing on, the identifying the community. That will be our focus next month. Okay, we're approaching this in a positive frame here. Ready, set, go. I'm going to do this, so I have to get ready for it. Ready can mean different things. For some of you, the ready means I need to be ready because I'm moving next month. Others of you are saying, I need to be ready because I might want to move next year, but I want to start because I've got a whole lot of that stuff or junk. And yes, you can wait and do a last minute move, but I encourage you, if you're thinking ahead, it's a great time to start the sorting, organizing that. We've talked a lot, and these are the kinds of topics we focus on more in Downsizing Club about. I think it's a great time for thinking about your legacy, remembering what was important in your life, celebrating your life, and sharing that with your family sometimes. But we talk more about that, but it's so much more than just the stuff. If we're going to be making a move, often to a community, generally, we are going to be going to a smaller space. So probably our homes now may range from 1,400 to 2,400 square feet. We're probably going to be moving to an apartment that may be more like 800 to 1,000 square feet. So guess what? Not everything is going. So when you do move, this will be a different kind of move. So when people say, oh, moving, yeah, I've done it. I've moved 15 times in my life. I know how to do it. Yes. Probably you moved everything from house A to house B. And many of you or us were involved in moves associated with our work. And we had the opportunity to have someone come in and pack it all up and unpack it for us. And we didn't do it. But now, generally, we're doing it. And you know what? How many years have you been living where you're living? 5 years, 15, 25 years? Our backs may be a little stiffer hips and knees don't work like they did then. Trying to pack those boxes and shuffle them around can be a challenge for us. So it's a different kind of move. The thing I encourage people to be thinking about is, and this, it begins to overlap with the next one too. But you're going to hear us say through this a lot of times, they're professionals who can help you. You know, with this silver tsunami and so many people in this stage of life, we're seeing a lot of new industries coming up, or businesses, whatever, within the senior industry. Move management. You can ask more about that. We talk a lot about that in Downsizing Club. But people who are trained to help guide you through that process of sorting, they have an idea what's going to fit into your new apartment. The goal is for you to move into your new apartment and have a place for everything and not be tripping over boxes for the next month or more. So, you know, there's expertise they bring, and so that whole ready, set, go, new space, new life plan for that. And we, like I say, Downsizing Club, we spend a lot more time with that. Letting go. We talked a little bit about this last month, just that emotional side of letting go of our homes when we make the move, letting go of our stuff. And hopefully, as I've mentioned, it can be a time to think about all the things that have gone on in our lives, those joyous things, and remember as we sort through stuff. And yes, I know. What do I do with the photos? Yes. First of all, get rid of the ones that you don't know who they are in the pictures anyway, but we'll come back, or that's, again, a Downsizing Club topic. But as we talk about letting go, remember, we're looking at what is it going to be involved in downsizing, those finishing touches. Let me go back to letting go. The other part is, and I know people are going to say, well, what about estate sales? That's when we get down to what we call liquidation. You know, I think from experience, you move, stuff that's left at your home, we have to figure out how to liquidate it. Get it gone. We often think of estate sales. I've said it before, and I repeat it a lot. That's one way, but to have a successful estate sale, you have to have the quality and quantity of items that people are buying in an estate sale. And so it's the big stuff, but it's also the little stuff that supports that. We've got great people we can recommend for that, but that's only one way. Sometimes we don't have enough of that. We have a lot of stuff, but maybe not what's going to be sold in an estate sale. So we look at other ways. There may be buyouts. There may be donations. I think this is one of the greatest challenges we face during this process and leading up to it. We look at all this stuff, and there's one side, and me too, I look at this, I know that stuff would do in a sale, in an estate sale. I'm just going to leave it there. And someone's going to deal with it in an estate sale. There's a side of me that goes, why am I hanging on to it? And who cares? Let me go ahead and donate it, rehome it so someone can be enjoying it. What's an answer? It's an individual answer. Now, if you talk to liquidators, they'll usually say, hang on to everything, we can probably sell it. Could be. But then I know some situations when we've hung on to everything and then it doesn't sell and then we're still trying to figure that out. So there's not an answer as often. It depends. For some people, we need that peace of mind of getting stuff out of the house along the way. And so we feel that we're making progress. So, we wish we had clear-cut answers all the time. We don't, but I want to make people aware, and that's what we really focus on. So that was the letting go. Okay, finishing touches. You've moved to your new place, and we're going to sell your old place. What needs to happen to get that house ready to sell? I'm not talking redecorate, but they're the basic things like a thorough cleaning An assessment, are there deferred maintenance issues that should be taken care of? Well, I just want to sell it as is. That is a possibility. Again, it depends. If your house has a lot of deferred, well, I know my roof is 15 years old, and I know my water heater is 20 years old, but, but I know these houses are selling at this dollar, and I want that much for mine. Okay, we got to do some balancing here. We got to, and, with your realtor, whoever is, we look to see what would be comps for your house in the condition your house is. And I'm going to look over here at Debbie. She's my property prep person. One of the ongoing dilemmas that you have when you're getting ready to sell your home, quite often, is, what am I going to do about my carpet? Good question. What are you going to do about your carpet? Well, I guess I should just replace it. Possibly. Let's try a thorough cleaning first. You know what happens? And sad to say, we see it periodically. We've even had them cleaned, and but still the appearance just kind of turns people off from the house, so we have to make decisions. And I know we had a situation recently where we all agreed it just was a turnoff, even though we'd had the carpet cleaned. So there were 2 rooms that we replaced carpet in. And I told the owner, I said, now, you have to kind of look at this as a marketing expense because we don't want people to be turned off. And we did. We sold the home very quickly. That was great. And we also did get word the other day that carpet's being taken out and some type of wood is going in. And it hurts, and I know it does, but I feel sure we would have not sold that house had we. But that's a last resort. It just hurt me to even make that recommendation. So what I'm saying is we plan ahead, have guides along the way. What is the best investment of money? A good cleaning, that's non-negotiable. Windows clean, carpets clean, everything spick and span clean. And if you have where the squirrels have chewed on the fascia or whatever underneath your roof, they can really do a damage up there. I recommend it get taken care of before. You know what happens when buyers come in your home and they see something that doesn't look quite right? Or they see the really dirty carpet, or something's been chewing on that wood. I wonder what else is wrong with this house. And you see them switch from, and now they're on the negative side. And so that's where you have, as a guide, again, when we look at what's the best use, how do we support people in that process? But the point being, move, get rid of your stuff. I always wish I had a better word, but there's not. And I'm included in the stuff that I need to work with. The finishing touches, and then closing the chapter, selling your home. Common question now is, are homes selling? Guess what? It depends. You put a good product out there, priced at what the market is paying, and you're going to have a much better chance of selling. We've had several, but I know it varies. And that's where that guide, let's look at this. What do we think the price will be based on the market, the condition, the location of your home? So all of those are factors. And then our final element that we have here, finding your fit. Get involved in your new community. It's interesting to me, and I don't mean just abandon your friends from before, but some people are so tied up with going back to book clubs or bridge clubs or whatever in their previous community that they don't take time to become involved in your new community. So I think that's important. Which also reminds me, when we talked about new beginnings, I failed to mention one of the biggest decisions where geographically do you want to be? Do you want to stay? I assume you live here in the Georgetown area, and many of you have family here, others do not, but you have friends, you have churches, you have your medical community. So I want to stay here. Others say, ooh, but my kids are in Oklahoma, or my kids are here. Do I want to go ahead and make that move? COVID a few years ago really caused us to reevaluate that, I think. We saw a lot of people who'd been sitting, we were at First Presbyterian at the time, but they had been sitting here at seminars just like you, thinking, okay, I'm going to make the move. And maybe they were, okay, I'm ready to go to an independent living community. I'm ready, I'm going. And here comes COVID, and they go, we're locked down, we can't be with friends, really. And my kids are in Tennessee or wherever. Maybe I should reconsider this. So I really have seen over the years, I think a lot more people go ahead and say, I've got great friends here, a great church, and I don't want to lose them. But I think looking at 5, 10 years down the road, I want to go ahead and make the move to that area now, so I get settled and know people there. Just a consideration. We all have to make our own decisions about that. So, we just throw out a lot of uncertainties to you, but that's what we're all about. So that's a sort of quick review of what I see as really the major elements of downsizing. And then you have another. Oh, I know what. Kent, let's go ahead and go to the next slide, too, the readiness one. Okay, we talk about this one periodically. And we added a step in here. If you're already here, I think you're beyond the pre-contemplation. And I don't think we put that in your handouts. If you need it, I'll give it to you. You've had it before. But you hear the word downsize. You never thought about it. It doesn't apply to me, not even thinking about it. Then we often see, this is the same change we see as we introduce new concepts in business or anything. There's that denial. Nope, I'm never doing that. I'm never moving out of my house. I'm staying put. But then something may trigger your thinking. In some cases, we've had neighbors that have medical conditions, or we may develop a medical condition. Well, maybe I should think about it. Maybe someday I might want to consider being in more of a community, independent or assisted. What I always forget, I need to start with 55 plus. I want to at least give up home ownership, but I'll still deal with my own meals. Come back next month, we'll talk more about that. But that's thinking. I'm considering it. I'm gathering information. This will be an important one next month when we talk about different communities, and we will be offering tours for you to go visit the communities, and we'll explain more of that. And you get the insider's view. The residents give the tours. So you can ask questions. What is it really like to live here? And so come back. We'll tell you more about that next month. So that is kind of, and a lot of us go back and forth. One day we may be more ready to make the move, and something may trigger us, or we open that closet and see all that stuff. No, never mind. And, and I bet Mandy from Oscar and Armando and Jen from Delaney, I know you all have had this situation where people have come into your communities and after much deliberation have finally said, okay, I'm ready to move to independent living. Sounds good. We drive home, you open the door, or you look in your garage, and you see all the stuff. And you go, never mind. There's no way I can get from this to that. Call and cancel, we're not doing it. That hurts me when I hear people say that. You just need some support, some guidance along the way. Don't turn it around from a good thing. Yes, it's overwhelming, but let people, I know when people say, after I meet with them, and if they say, oh, I feel so much better now. I have so much weight lifted off my shoulder. And I go, yeah, and I just felt it come on my shoulder if I'm going to be your guide through this. But that's what we're for. But the point being, we kind of move back and forth, planning, taking action, taking positive steps. Embrace and thrive in your new community. So I just always, and I know can be really challenging with couples, because we're not always at the same place at the same time. And if we had the answer for that, I'd be a millionaire. And you've heard me, and I don't mean this disrespectful towards anybody, but I go, we offer a lot of services through Seniors Living Smarter services. The one service we don't have that some weeks I wonder is marital counseling, when we're on completely different pages. And I don't mean to be disrespectful that we are on different pages. That's part of the process. It is back to communication. It's back to that vision goal board. I want to live there for these reasons, so I've got to work my way through it. Okay, so I want to turn our attention to the other handout you have about best practices. We won't go through all these. We've already touched on a lot of them, and then if you have questions about them. But notice what's number one: be proactive. When I often have the question, when's the best time to move? Depends. What are your goals? I know the best time to move is just before the crisis occurs. Unfortunately, we don't have crystal balls to let us know that. Be proactive. Enjoy your new lifestyle. So all of that, what is it that's important to us? If swimming is important to you, then find a community with swimming. If being able to walk across the street to go to a large grocery store or to go to a theater or to whatever, then find a community. You might have to broaden your search a little bit, but I bet we can find communities to match your goals, your needs. Back to that, downsize possessions gradually, that ongoing dilemma. Do I just put it all in one room and say, estate sale people come do it, liquidation people come do it? Or do I work my way through it? Again, it depends. Getting help from professionals is so critical. I mentioned move managers, I mentioned liquidation services, estate sales, downsizing coaches. We're here to guide and support you. Now, number 5 is an interesting one, I think. Involve family and friends. Have the discussions about what you're thinking about. Involve your family so they know what you're thinking about. But I really encourage you not to expect your family to make your move. I've said this, one of my favorite stories going through is a different representation we had, but a downsizing puzzle with a mother who was moving to a community. They'd referred her to me, whichever way, and her son was with us. We were talking about what we could do to help make the move. And her son's listening, and he goes, so you can help with all this? You can do this. You can move. And I can't do all this myself, but I have a team. Yes, we can move. Yes, we can get rid of this stuff. Yes, we can get the property ready to sell. Yes, we can sell the property. And he was so great. He turned to his mom and he said, this sounds great, Mom. I'm out of here. Goodbye. Go for it. It was a relief to him. It's so interesting when I know my kids want to help me save money, so they can do this for me. I like some of this feedback I get. And even if the kids want to help and support you, it doesn't mean they have to take off from work and come spend a week or two or whatever, or every weekend for however long helping you with this. Many of them, and I've had people say this to me, you know what? What would it cost to have somebody do this? We'll pay. And that's our contribution, mom or mom and dad or whatever. We'll be the responsible party. We've taken care of you, but we haven't had to travel or get off work or whatever. So just a consideration about that. And I will have to say that as soon as you think you've got this all figured out, somebody proves you wrong. I had a couple this last fall. They were going to be moving into the Austin area, and they said, "Oh, our son and daughter-in-law are going to do it." And truthfully, I kind of roll my eyes and go, "Oh, I hope." I have to admit they did a great job. So it's that exception that proves you wrong. So I have to give, but I do know more times than not, because they had just moved her parents in a similar situation. So anyway, there are always different stories, but don't underestimate the power of having someone help you, guide you, do the work. And when we talk with move managers, the favorite part is, so they get you ready to go. And it's amazing how quickly they can do that if you're organized to begin with. They pack you. They load the stuff in the truck. They take the truck to your new place. They unload the truck. They set up your new apartment. And so this is day 2 in many of their cases. Day 1, they packed you, which blows my mind. Day 2, they put it in the truck and unload you, and you come in at 5 o'clock or so for the reveal. And your apartment's all set up. And I know it's impossible, but it happens if you've got good people. So, but then there may still be some more time to hang pictures or whatever. But just the thought of, and in fact, I think last year when our November panel of seniors, one was sharing the story of she moved to a local community, had the move manager set up her apartment. She came back at the end of the day, walked in. And you go, well, how do they know where to put things? Because you've already worked together on a floor plan. So they're following your plans. They're just doing it for you. Walk in, sits down, and just goes, oh, my. It's done. Down the hall, a woman who had also moved in that day, and with all good intentions, and we all have different reasons, her family had helped her. They'd done a great job, really worked hard. They had all the boxes in. And as I walked down the hall, I heard him go, oh, we still have to make up our bed. Where are the linens? And so I'm just, different considerations, but pretty high on that. These next ones, yes, focus on the positive. We've already talked about that today. Yes, we know it can be emotional. We talked about that last month. Here's one that we haven't talked specifically about, although we have in other ways. I think a deep down fear that some of us have is my money going to last me to live in this apartment for X number of years? And check with your financial planner, your asset manager. For peace of mind, do some research about that. And then number 9 on your list, we've already been talking the whole time about that. Plan for a smooth transition. And then it goes on with more specifics that your realtor can help with too. And what's the final one? Once again, celebrate the change, embrace the new lifestyle. And when I just mentioned about the realtor, I wanted to clear up something. As realtors, we are trained at determining market value or making recommendations. You set the price, but based on the market, and we can do all of our figures and bring that information to you. We can make recommendations to you about getting your house ready to sell. We can handle the contracts, the legal work, the negotiations. You get to closing and you get a check, and that is all very important. And as realtors, we often say, call me when you're ready to sell your home. Because as realtors, that's what we focus on. When I think back, and just for my own personal story, that's what I was when I became a realtor, a second career. But I realized I wanted more than that. I saw these other needs going on. How do we help people make these moves? How, and I knew there were ways to do it, but I didn't know at the time. So that's when I got busy and furthered my education and attending seminars and taking courses and being in coaching programs focused on seniors. So then I did become a certified senior housing professional and a certified senior downsizing coach. I just share that because there are differences, and that's fine. But that was just a route I chose to go, and the reason that I can share these experiences, I've done a lot of research over the last 10 or 15 years related to this, and had the benefit to learn from a lot of experiences. Do they all go absolutely smoothly? There are going to be hiccups, but all we can do is address the hiccups and go on. But what's our long-term goal? What are we headed towards? Okay, I want to open it up for questions, and then I've got the next steps we'll talk about. And I'm going to ask, if possible, let's see, yeah. When you ask your question, probably, anyway, we'll bring the mic, and we'll just hold on to the mic. It's easier, that we know it's on. Give you the mic. And if you'll ask your question, these are not the personal stories of what, and these are not stories right now, they're questions. If we have time, we'll come back for some stories maybe. But the question, and if it's a general question, it's not what to do with my mother's Rose Point china, although we could generalize that, but come to Downsizing Club. So we'll ask questions, and then we're going to talk about next steps. Okay, so Brielle, Josie, you're going to help us here too. Any questions? So that means I either did a very thorough job or a very confusing job, and that's pretty scary. I'm sure there must be some questions. Okay, Josie, let's come over here, and then we'll go back there. Ken? Was he looking?
What is the Downsizing Club?
Oh, okay, good. I didn't even pay you to say that. Thank you. Okay, if you're in Downsizing Club, stand up. This is, oh, good. They're actually admitting it. Very good. Well, that was quick, Mary. Okay, some of us are a little, oh, yeah, that's right. I am. Downsizing Club is a support group. You know, here in the seminars, we deal with broad topics. But we know that downsizing and what do I really do is top of mind for many of us. So I think this is our 4th year of Downsizing Club. We meet monthly, first Thursday of each month. And, like I say, it's a support group. We set goals. Brielle and I co-facilitate it. And let me tell you, she's got this goal setting down. But she's not too mean about it if you don't accomplish your goals. But she has a very sweet way of encouraging us to set goals, to keep moving towards the big picture, and then reporting on our goals. And for some of you, okay, I'm out of here, not doing that. But she's really very kind about it. So, but we also share information, a lot of the tips on what to do. It's just that it's a small environment, although we grew a lot last month, and it will be a limited size. We share a lot of resources and materials. There is a fee, I'll put it out there, it's a $200 fee, membership for life. So if you're on the long-term plan, like some of our Downsizing Club members, their $200 is going to last them a very long time. So for those of you, if you make or when you make the decision to sell your home, if I become your realtor, I rebate that. You've gotten a head start on how to do the planning. But visit with, so people on their name tags, it says Downsizing Club. If you want to get the scuttlebutt from people who come to Downsizing Club, visit with them or visit with me or Brielle, and we'll tell you more about it. Okay? Let's see. I saw there was one more. Oh, back there, I think. Then, was there a question over here, Brielle?
Thanks, Josie. There you go, hon.
Virginia, I would like to know if you might have any resources or professional companies or people who could help with dealing with paperwork from relatives that you kind of inherit. And it's financial stuff, just all kinds of paperwork that Do I save it? Do I trash it? Do I shred it? Do I need it anymore? And I'm talking living or deceased relatives, both.
Okay, good question. And rather, in her case, she mentioned that it sounds like they've kind of inherited the family paperwork that keeps being passed on and passed on. What are some guidelines? So those are the kinds of things we follow up more specifically with in Downsizing Club. In fact, last month, someone shared a resource. Sandra's not here today. Oh, you are right there. You were hiding. Okay, we don't usually go visit with her. Raise your hand. She had a great resource, but we're not going to go into all of it now. But wouldn't your resource help with that? Okay. So you'll connect afterwards. Those are the kinds of things we do in Downsizing Club. The wisdom's in the room. But it's a fair question. But so we'll answer it two ways. You can get some specifics there. There's an online group I think that she has joined that's helped her with that. And okay, we'll visit with you some more about that. Did you have a question over here, Brielle? I thought I saw one. Questions? Okay, I know you had a question, Jeannie. Go ahead. Maureen.
It goes along with the paperwork, and that is the photos. I can handle all the photos that came, I'm going to say recently because they're not really recent. I'm pretty old, but the ones that I have, and from my life on this earth. But the thing is, all those photos and negatives from my mother, and I didn't realize I had them until I started pulling stuff out of that closet. You know what I mean by that closet? And I'm like, my goodness, what, the biggest thing was negatives. So I'm holding them up to the light, trying to see the negatives, and I realized that there were some negatives that, of places that my mother had been that I really wanted to know about. Well, these negatives are really odd sizes, so I can't take them to Walgreens. I know they're not going to develop them.
Okay,
I just need a place.
Okay,
That's it.
that's one of those times where we may not be able to give the specifics, or we might have some suggestions. But you know what? Some of it becomes our own decisions. Does it really matter? I finally gave up. I mean, I know every situation is different, but in going through old boxes, I'd say the negatives because there might be some pictures I would want to have reprinted. I finally had to come to the conclusion, dump them, and also dump a lot of those pictures. Like we said briefly, if we don't know who they are, if they're blurred, or how many of us, maybe not so much with iPhones or whatever now, but how many of us would take 6 pictures of the same thing so we could get the best one? And we still have all 6 pictures. Or we have 15 pictures of Mount Rushmore, and that trip meant a lot to me, and it was fun with the kids. But is that a high priority? I'm moving away from your question, Marie. But the point is, it's all a difference, but still why? What does it really matter? Some of us who have, I bet a lot of us had those collections of photo albums. Okay, this was the trip to Yellowstone. This was the trip to the World's Fair. This was. We could probably, and I'm great to say do this. I'm still trying to. I have my parents' trip pictures from all of their trips. My goal, which I started, can't say it's in front of Brielle, she'll be on my case about it, is pull out a picture of their trip to Rome. All right, I want to save some of those. I always think, I want to put together their picture there and my picture when I was there, and but I don't need all the albums, and it hurts to let go of it, but not a good answer. But the answer is, what's the long-term goal? Oh, I'm sorry, Barbara had something. Here comes Brielle.
Thank you. I was going to say, Precision Camera on Burnett Road in Austin will take your negatives and make them into pictures.
Okay.
There are also applications you can put on your computer that will reverse image those negatives into actual pictures. So you can research that.
Barbara, raise your hand. She's going to come talk to you afterwards. Precision cameras on Burnett Road could be a resource for dealing with negatives, okay?
And as on the board for Williamson County Genealogy Society, I think that it is extremely important that if it is pictures of your ancestors, please keep them. Pictures of your trips to the mountains where you're seeing these beautiful sceneries or anywhere in the world, if it does not have a person in it, who cares? Nobody
many of
else
us
remembers
remember-
that. Nobody remembers it but you. I'm sorry.
That's how many of us remember trying to take a picture of, oh, Faithful or whatever, and we worked really hard because we don't want anybody in that picture. And at the time, that was really important to us. But, it really doesn't matter now. We talk a lot about digitizing pictures, too. That's your cue, Brielle. You had to tell your story.
So there's a lot of options on digitizing. I think a lot of you have probably heard this before. I took basically all of the photos that I've had and was able to either scan them and put them on a jump drive, or they were already digital, but basically there's video from the 50s of my mother, from a reel-to-reel all the way up to my own children now, all on a single jump drive. So it is possible to take your photographs, your old videos, all those things, and digitize them down to just something that will fit in your pocket. So it is possible.
And we may end up doing some more workshops on specific topics like that. But at least we got you something there. We got Brenda something over here. Okay, other questions that people have? No questions. Oh, there's a question. She's coming.
Just an observation. I'm a retired National Park Service museum curator, so those Yellowstone pictures might be interesting to the folks at Yellowstone. Just mail them to them. If they don't want them, they'll tell you.
Now, come on. Just an innocent statement, and what are the chances that I'm going to have somebody in the room who will say, thank you very much. Those
But
might
I love
be
he said
valuable.
mail them to them.
Okay.
So now it's out of your hands. At that point, if they throw them away, it's okay. So that was a great solution.
Thank you for your sharing. We appreciate that. Now, I don't know, what about if you want pictures standing in front of the Colosseum in Rome? I don't know. You don't have any recommendation for that. Okay. Now, we're going to give a salute to the national parks or other forests and things that are great. So send that on. Okay. Other questions or stories?
Okay, could you sort of give us like a to-do list in terms of who do we start with? I mean, you've given us some really good suggestions about the move managers and liquidators and all of that. Can you sort of give us a sequence of where to start and kind of step by step? Some of us need that.
Okay. Fair question. This is kind of like, thank you for the lead in. I appreciate it. On your yellow feedback form, this is going to get to your an answer, because we do want you to take action. And I know a lot, and I'm not making light of any of the stories. I know they're hard. I mean, heaven forbid you walk in. When we moved into our new house, there's this great walk-in closet in one of the bedrooms. I call it my grandson's room. You know what? That is so perfect to put all those photo albums of my parents and all these photo albums of my kids out of sight, out of mind. But they're still there. I've got to work through them. So, I identify. But how do we make sense of all this? On your yellow sheet, on the side where it has for your name there, we have a little bit different question for you this time. Yes, you can mark on here, register you for the October 17th seminar, Your Guide to Senior Living Options. And if you're not already on the email or postcard list, you can mark that. But folks, for us to be able to do it and for you to register, you have to put your name. It's amazing how many times we get feedback forms with no name. And Brielle knows you well, but she hasn't learned to identify check marks yet. So, we're working on it. But now look at these next three, the bottom three. I want you to kind of bracket these together. We have 3 choices, recommendations for you. Thinking back about downsizing as a puzzle, choice 1 is, I'll put my downsizing puzzle together myself. Thank you. I don't need help. I got this. The next one, I would like a guide to help me put the puzzle together. What that is really, as a consultation, when I meet with people because every situation is different, but we can help you put it in order. And the question that she asked is critical. As a downsizing coach, and I'm not doing this to try to get business, I'm doing this as a resource, is I can really become the coordinator, the hub, bring in, give contacts, know who to reach out to for resources there. So it's often we put on here, if you'd like a consultation, you mark that one. And then the bottom one, I'd like to be part of a group to help me put the puzzle together. That's where Marilyn joined us last week. If we want to be part of the downsizing group as a support group. So these are 3 ways, and if you mark these, this tells us how we can follow up with you. So the order is going to depend, and that's where I love it when I can help identify and help people make those contacts. Okay? Other questions? Okay, so you have this, and then if you will go back to your front sheet.
Virginia, can I chime in real quick?
Oh, please.
Maureen, a really good place to start, and this is for everyone, is you might really be down the road on this, but start visiting communities. Maybe that community is someplace like a Sun City type neighborhood, or maybe you're already there and you want to look at what are the options of the assisted living or independent living, the 55 plus apartments, things like that. You can go to those places without signing a contract on the dot that day. You've got plenty of time, but starting to get an idea of what is out there and what your options are going to be is a really fantastic place to start. So next month when we talk about our options for senior living, we'll be talking about all those different options, and then we will have our signups for our tours that we'll be doing with some communities in the area. But you don't know when the crisis is going to occur, and if you've never ever stepped foot in a community that offers assisted living or maybe memory care, whatever that might be, it's panic. But if you've already gone to those places and you've seen what's available and you know where you feel comfortable, then that helps that process along a lot quicker than going, I have no idea where to start. And that's different than downsizing your home and going through the photos. That's a completely different place. But if you don't know where you're going and you have no idea what you want and what's important to you, then and we're going to talk all about that next month.
So, of course, today we have 2 communities represented here. Mandy with the Oscar, and then we have Armando and Jen with the Delaney. You can visit with them about, well, could I come visit? We promise they're not going to make you sign on the dotted line. But again, and the other thing, and it's so important what Brielle said, just to open your eyes. People still, oh yeah, I know what those places are like. My grandmother was there. Hey, guess what? They're different, and they're all different within. You can go visit one independent living community. In fact, next month, we'll give you a set of questions and make some suggestions. So don't judge. I've been to one independent living. They're all the same. No, they're not. I've been to one 55-plus lease apartment. They're all the same. No, they're not. So thank you for mentioning that. And Josie.
I just have a comment. When you go to look for a place like a community that you're going to live in, you really also need to consider your medical needs. Remember, that's going to change in 5 to 10 years. So AARP has a list that's free. You can download it. And these are questions when you tour communities to ask the people there. Because remember, your medical needs, your healthcare needs are going to change as you age in place. So that's a big consideration when seeking a new place to age in place.
And as a plug for next month, we'll also have handouts that include those kinds of questions that you would want to have when you go to visit.
Okay. Okay, any other questions? All right, I want now back to the packet, the very first sheet under the pretty yellow, bright yellow for September divider there. Okay, what are your action steps? You know, we hope that you will not just walk out here, well, that was fun, or that was, okay, but do something with it. So I would also encourage you to think about, your big picture there. But what's the first one we said? Use the best practices for downsizing worksheet to create your own plan. That's what we were just talking about. Those, and be thinking about, okay, do we want to visit communities? Do we want to, what are our needs now? What do we anticipate our needs might be in the future? Look at this, maybe make notes on it. Think about what you might want to do. So that was one of our suggested action steps. Call me, my number is there if you would like help creating your downsizing plan. No, it doesn't mean you're moving in the next 3 months. But let's think about down the road so you can be prepared. Register for the October 17th seminar again, your guide to senior living options. Oh, a little asterisk there is so important. We usually meet, I always have to stop and think, the second Thursday. But this is one of those months when we have to change. Will be the third Thursday in October. The 17th, because the second Thursday I'll actually be in Oklahoma City at a legacy conference with other people who do the same thing I do, who focus on senior moves and do seminars and downsize coaching. So I'll come back with all kinds of new ideas, and it also is very affirming that we've got a lot of good things going on here, and I'm so glad we've been able to put together the team and the tremendous support from Brielle and being able to provide the services we do. And finally, invite a friend to join you. I know we had some people today. How many of you brought a friend today, or it was or an acquaintance? No. A friend, and this was their first week. I know we had one back there. Anybody else bring a friend? Okay, you brought a friend with you. Okay. So I hope you all will come back. We'd love to see you again. Final question. Did you learn something today? I hope so. Some of you go, it just made me even more confused. But that may be the first step. Again, when we go back to that stages of readiness, maybe for some of us, we've kind of, nope, not me, not going. Maybe we caused you to think, maybe I should consider, not for me, but for my neighbor down the street, they might need to make a change. So anyway, but hopefully you've learned something. For some of you, you're far down the road, so hopefully it was an affirmation to you of what you're already doing. Others of you, it's a new opportunity, and so we're here to help you. I want to thank you all very much and look forward to seeing you October 17th, if not before.